Hey everyone, it is Wednesday, December 2nd, and I want to give a quick overview of the City Council meeting that took place last night, December 1st. I'd like to try to give an overview and keep people abreast of what's going on in City Hall. Nothing crazy, but just in the everyday events that are taking place in Scranton, I think it's important that Scranton and local residents be aware of what's going on and taxes, laws, policies, whatever that are being pushed forward through City Council. So in the beginning of City Council this past week, we had a caucus meeting and a sort of like a budget public hearing where the mayor and her business administrator came to answer questions. There wasn't a lot of conversations or public discussions that were submitted, but it was good to have them on camera and to sort of give some voice to City Council. Probably the biggest thing that stuck out to me that the mayor put forward is her move to try to create a health department in the city of Scranton. Right now, the city doesn't have a health department. And her interest is based on everything that's going on with the pandemic. There's a lot of numbers relating to public health that the city doesn't have access to because we don't have a health department. I don't know if those are laws or regulations or OSHA, whatever it is, but by establishing a health department in our city, it will grant the city access to a lot of those numbers. So I don't know a lot about that situation, but this isn't something that's been put forward through City Council. There's no law that's being pushed through right now, but it's an agenda item that she has that I think is of interest. The next thing she talked about was City Hall salaries. This is something that is a part of the 2021 budget, which has not yet been approved. That is an ongoing thing that's going to get pushed through and passed this month. Big topic of discussion. But one of the things that the mayor's administration is trying to do is to increase the salaries of some current positions and to create new positions that are paid a reasonable wage. There's been a little bit of pushback on this because, people see salary numbers and they get really concerned, but the mayor just made it clear that the intention is to be able to set the bar higher for the type of talent that we're bringing into our community and to try to attract a lot of that talent. This isn't something that is unique to City Hall. This is something that many large businesses in this area have been working to do over the past decade, is to increase salaries so that we can draw people into our area. Then the final thing that took place in this caucus is Councilman McAndrew. He kind of brought up the fact that he submitted a bunch of questions about the budget 2 weeks ago and has yet to have clarification sent to him by the mayor's office yet. A little bit concerning. Again, this is the first year that this administration has been in office, so there needs to be a little bit of leeway given to them with their first go around on a budget, but we're getting awfully close to January 1, 2021, and we're going to have to see something concrete here soon. So I'm sure City Hall is going to be moving pretty quickly in the next week to get this pushed through. A couple of other things. So the caucus is done, and now we're moving on to the City Council meeting proper. Not a lot of crazy stuff was happening. The biggest thing is probably that taxes were all pushed through as per usual. Mercantile and business privilege tax has been pushed forward for 2021 and approved. It's a little bit of a setback for those who are interested in transitioning from a mercantile business privilege tax to a payroll tax, which has been a pretty big discussion. We actually had a local referendum on this issue. Everybody, with a far majority, everybody preferred to move away from the mercantile tax, which is generally perceived as being bad on local business. So that's pushed off for another year at least, unfortunately. And all of the other taxes went forward and were approved as one would expect. The one change that is notable is the LST, the local service tax, has increased from $52 to $156 a year. So still not a huge dollar amount, but it's a 300% increase. So Two other things. One that was really concerning to me is an OECD claim for $28,000 reimbursed for COVID relief website edits. So this is something that I'm probably actually going to submit my first inquiry to City Council about this. So basically, Scranton's Office of Economic and Community Development apparently conducted website edits on Scranton's website, cityofscranton.org or .gov, I believe it is, scrantoncity.gov, and they're claiming that those website edits cost $28,000, and they've approved reimbursement for the $28,000 from the city's COVID Economic Relief Fund. This is really concerning to me because their website is absolutely horrible. It's not a modern website. It's very old school, and it should have cost nowhere near $28,000. And it's hard for me to even tell what on that website is worth $5,000, let alone edits. So I'd like to see some clarification on that. Especially when we're talking about COVID relief dollars, which really we need to relegate to small businesses. That's kind of my stance on that. Finally, I'll talk about the garbage bill collections issue that's been going on. So as you might be aware, City of Scranton charges $300 a year for garbage pickup. In my estimation, that's not a very expensive price to have your garbage picked up, but a lot of people have sort of disregarded that cost. They think it's excessive, and so they've not paid that. There's a lot of people, I don't know what the actual figure is, but there's a lot of money in the city's accounts receivable right now that it represents people who aren't paying. And so what they've done is they've submitted RFPs to collections agencies to try to collect that money. They're working towards that. I think they've gotten several bids, and I think they're pretty close to approving one of the bids. And essentially what that means is the City of Scranton will have a collections agency that will go around and hound landlords, commercial development, whatever, to get the money that the city is owed. This is legal money that the city is owed, and it's really important because, you know, the city needs money just like any business does, and when people don't pay their taxes, they have to replace that revenue in some way. Now, the one thing that Councilman Gahan has been talking about for the last month or two has been a garbage bill amnesty period. He thinks especially during this period of COVID-19 where people are hurting financially, offering a period of time where the city will allow offenders to come in and pay off their garbage bill, less any fees that had accrued, basically saving them thousands of dollars of late fees and penalties and so on and so forth, giving them the opportunity to just pay up and not have to deal with that. Otherwise, they're going to be on the hook for not just their garbage bills, but also all of the fees and penalties. The concern is that could affect the RFP that's sent out to the collections agencies, because if we allow that amnesty period, that's going to decrease the total amount of accounts receivable that the company can collect, which is going to decrease their revenue. But I think it's a good idea. It's a good olive branch to try to get some of these people to pay up without creating more negativity than there needs to be. So anyways, that's the long and the short of it. Not a lot of stuff going on in City Council. A lot of it's budgetary stuff that's happening at the end of the year, getting ready for 2021. But it's always a good thing to be kept up to breast with it. And for an hour-and-a-half meeting, sitting in on a 9-minute and 16-second talk by yours truly is maybe a little bit more efficient. All right, good night.